Hello, and welcome back to another video. So, you've seen the title. You know what's coming. You know it's my top 10 Nintendo 64 games. Now, I didn't grow up with the Nintendo 64. I didn't really grow up with any major 5th gen consoles. I played a PS1 once. that was genuinely about the extent of it. But we're doing my top 10 N64 games because it's a console I've been really getting into. I bought that bag, that Nintendo 64 carrying case a couple of weeks ago, and it's amazing. It's so good. I bought the Nintendo 64 Polymega one. That very rarely leaves... very, very rarely leaves the actual Polymega itself. At the moment, I think I've got the Mega Drive one in there, because I've been playing a bit of that, because it's pretty good. But I'll be getting back onto the N64 eventually. Let's start with number 10, Daikatana. No, not Daikatana. This is probably one of the flat-out worst games on the entire system, even though it's got an interesting, like, multiplayer mode, but... No, no, that is strictly a joke. These are in no particular order. And a lot of them are based on my time with these games on other systems. So, for example, I'll start with this one, I suppose. Perfect Dark. I really like Perfect Dark. Like, a lot. I think it's probably one of the most robust games on the Nintendo 64 in terms of story, multiplayer, different modes, like so many different guns. It's absolutely baffling. It's really, really cool. It's a really, really cool game. And I played this a heck of a lot on the Xbox 360 Marketplace back in the day. I've also been playing it on Rare Replay, which I got my wife a couple years ago. And you know what? It's still pretty good there. Because it's the Xbox Live version. But the N64 version is still an extremely solid, competent shooter. It's just I've gotten so used to having twin stick controls, I can't play it really on anything else, which is great and definitely very, very helpful. But yeah, Perfect Dark. I mean, it is borderline perfect. I think its only downside is its really late entry into the N64's lifespan, and it's quite frankly not great continuation. We had Perfect Dark Zero. I liked Perfect Dark Zero. In fact, that was my intro to the series as a whole, and I really, really liked it. I do appreciate it's not a good game, and obviously we've got the new Perfect Dark coming out soon. I'll hold my breath on that one, because nothing Microsoft has done over the last 10 years has really convinced me they know how to handle a games business. In fact, if anything, they've been running it into the ground ever since the end of the 360. Ignoring the very minuscule Xbox One collection I have down there, because it is hot garbage. It is a hot garbage console. But Perfect Dark, very solid game. Probably one of my favourites, if not my favourite. But definitely up there. We'll get to my favourite, which will be a heavily controversial choice. Okay, next three. The next three you typically see on any given N64. The next four, actually. The next five. The next five. The next five are some you would typically see. 6. This is a very conventional list for me. It's very weird. Not my top game. My top game will not be conventional under any circumstances, but the rest, pretty conventional. So I'll start with probably my favourite 3D platformer on the system. I'm not big on 3D platformers. I don't like them. I think they are aggravating. Well, not aggravating. I just don't play them. I just don't play them that often, and it's very rare for me to really get into one. The only ones that really come off the top of my head are Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, maybe Frontiers, and Glover. Now, I really like Glover. It's quaint. It's very adorable. I'm really bummed out I missed out on the Glover plush that Limited Run did, but you know, it's a plush of Glover. I couldn't really justify how much it was. which was quite a lot. It was actually quite expensive. But yeah, I do really like Glover. I think it's a really solid game. It's a shame the second one never kicked off. It would have been nice to have more, maybe a multiplayer mode. Like a lot of these third person 3D platformers don't really have particularly robust multiplayer modes. Donkey Kong 64 has one, and it's shit. And the next game has one, and it's definitely my favourite 3D platformer on the system. Glover's up there, but it's Conker's Bad Fur Day. What can I say about Conker's Bad Fur Day that hasn't been said a billion times? How about the fact that the Xbox original version is probably the best way to play it, short of the swearing. Now, Conker is a real piss take on Rare's prior outings with Banjo-Kazooie, Jet Force Gemini, Banjo-Tooie, things like that. They came out and went, yeah, no, it's going to have swearing and Matrix references. And it's interesting. It's an interesting game. Its multiplayer was really interesting, though, and it's something I'd love to do a video on down the line. I will be, once I got the decent recording equipment, but not just my phone. But, yeah, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Its multiplayer was really weird, because it had bots, it had a shooter mission, you had one where you played as raptors versus cavemen, and raptors were horribly unbalanced, but it's a game on the Nintendo 64. It wasn't meant for online competitive play. It was just there. Yeah, I mean, it's a very solid, crude humour fest, and a lot of that crudity carries over to the original Xbox version. I think the original Xbox version has a better multiplayer in that it had online, which is nuts. And it would have been nice if Rare had the opportunity to kind of deconstruct the game. It's like you go in expecting it to be a remake, and it actually devolves into a sort of sequel. That would have been really cool. But Conker, much like Perfect Dark, hasn't had the best run of story or new entries in his series for a fucking long time. We had Project Spark, if anyone remembers that on the Xbox One. It was like a game development tool. But they added in Conker. It was supposed to be an episodic Conker platformer, and it fucking sucked. It was shit, and you can't even download or buy it anymore. It's fucking hot garbage. Okay. Mario Kart 64. My second favourite racing game on the entire system. I mean, it's Mario Kart. It took the Mario Kart formula that had been kind of been generated and in turn horrendously copied by everyone and their mother from the SNES, and put it into a 3D environment and made it amazing. It's really, really good. It's still immeasurably playable nowadays. It's not my favourite Mario Kart. My favourite Mario Kart will forever go to Mario Kart Double Dash, because I love that concept. I love the idea of multiple karts. I think that's really cool. At the same time, I think it's a shame we've never had that come back. It would be really great if we did. But, you know, it's not the way things work, unfortunately. We've got to stick with Mario Kart 8 for over a decade instead. Now, it was my second favourite racing game. My first favourite is F-Zero X. I love F-Zero. I will be doing an F-Zero video, but I need all the games first. I want to get all the games, play all the games, and go, oh yeah, these are amazing. Oh god, these are terrible. Either or. But F-Zero X, definitely up there as probably my favourite racing game on the entire N64. Then it goes Mario Kart. Then it goes to my third place, but I'll get to that in a minute. Because it's a very solid game in its own right, and it's very different. But F-Zero X, fast, brutal. I don't know whether it's harder than GX. I think GX is uncomfortably difficult. Like, it's so brutally hard, and I love it for that, which is rare for me. I hate difficult games with a passion. I get really angry, really annoyed. F-Zero, in general, is a series that is blisteringly difficult, but I know it's my fault. And that's because my reactions are shit. In comparison, I just can't get the best time down for it. But that's okay. I don't have to be amazing at F-Zero to enjoy it. It's still a very solid multiplayer game. I do wish I had an N64 disc drive, if strictly so I can try out the map editor for this. That would be amazing. But instead of spending £2,000 on an add-on that, quite frankly, probably wouldn't work, instead I'm just gonna. The plan is get an EverDrive with all of those games on it, and then potentially buy them physically. We'll see. Unlikely, though I would like Doshin. I would like both Doshin games. I think that would be very amusing. But, yeah, probably won't happen, especially considering the second Doshin game has you pooing on people. Yeah. That series got weird. Third favourite racing game. Wave Race. Wave Race is a really solid racing game. It's a lot of fun. It's got just the right amount of physics and weight to the jet ski that you're riding on for it to feel really good. Now, Wave Race as a series is something Nintendo has kind of left by the wayside, kind of like Kid Icarus and a lot of other stuff that I'd really love to see a new one of, but I love Wave Race. Hell, if Nintendo came out and went, yeah, we're doing another one. It's going to be cheap. It'll be like 20 quid. It doesn't look amazing. It plays well, but it doesn't look amazing. I'll buy it. I'm not kidding. Wave Race is just so much fun. It's such a good multiplayer game as well. Okay, the final four. No. Yes, the final four. Smash Bros. I like this one. It's not my favourite Smash Bros. That will go to 4. 4 will forever be my favourite because it's where I probably got into Smash. Melee was my first console game, but Smash 4 was my favourite one, if strictly because it added Pac-Man and Bowser Jr. and Bayonetta, who are all broken in their own ways and all really annoying to fight. But Smash Bros. The original, yeah, I mean it's the original Smash Bros. What can I say about it? It took that kind of platform fighter concept that had been created with the original prototype, and went, let's have a bunch of Nintendo characters beating the shit out of each other. Even the advertising, I think it has Yoshi, Pikachu, Mario, and Donkey Kong all skipping through a field, and then they start beating the ever-loving shit out of each other, and it is so good. It's so fucking funny. Just, yeah. You don't really get advertising like that anymore. You don't get that kind of cheesy 90s garbage. And that's a shame. You also don't get the weird 2000s garbage like the PlayStation 3, baby. But Smash Bros. Very solid entry in the series. I would argue it's the most primitive. It's not my least favourite. That would be DS. I think DS is crap. For 3DS rather. I thought that was garbage. And I think that it's very annoying that because of that, ice climbers weren't allowed in. Because they were like, oh, we can't go to run with 16 ice climbers running around on 8-player Smash. And we want to keep these as identical as we can. I'm like, just make 4. Like, 4 was fine. But whatever. Okay. Now we're in kind of the top 3. Again, no order, but GoldenEye. I mean, it's GoldenEye. GoldenEye has aged phenomenally in its multiplayer. Less so its single player. I think its single player is slightly dated. It's nice to see something like Agent 64 coming out, which is a first-person shooter based around this as a concept. And this is kind of the granddaddy of things like Perfect Dark, GoldenEye Rogue Agent, which was shit, GoldenEye in general, that remake that we got from Activision, which was also shit, and the Time Splitters series, which is not shit. They are amazing. And then they got killed off by THQ. Again, fucking Embracer. But this was the granddaddy. I went back and played this with my friend a few months ago, and it's surprising how much fun it is. Like, the multiplayer shouldn't be as fun as it is. There's something about running around a very flat, boring environment with the golden gun and shooting my friend constantly in the face and killing him instantly, which is very funny. We even discovered how exactly annoying Oddjob is to shoot, which is weird because that dude was massive in the movie. But he's a tiny man because they were like, no, we can't put... I forget his name from, I want to say, Man with the Golden Gun. Can't remember his name exactly, but I'm going to call him Mini-Me. Can't put Mini-Me in it, so instead we're just going to put Oddjob and we're going to make him really small for whatever reason. And he's a pain in the ass. But it's aged so well. it's aged so well. Such a good game. Okay, my second favourite game on the N64 is one I am hot dog garbage at. And that's Lilac Wars, or Star Fox 64, if you're in the America. Or literally anywhere else in the world, because Europe is stupid. Lilac Wars, or Star Fox 64, is a extremely robust and well-designed on-rail shooter. Or kind of like, not like gun shooter, what am I talking about? On-rail shooter, very akin to Panzer Dragoon. I did a whole video on how much I like Star Fox. I've come to have a new appreciation for this game. I think I badmouthed it a little bit. Its multiplayer is really interesting, and again, something I would like to touch upon. You can have 3 players, including in the Landmaster and on foot, which is really weird. Very strange, and something you don't see in a lot of Nintendo games anymore. You don't get throwaway multiplayer modes, which sucks. But yeah, Lilac Wars is just genuinely amazing. It's aged so well, to the point where when they remade it for the 3DS, it was one of the first games I bought. It's just genuinely that good. And it's a shame that as a series, Lilac Wars has been left to the wayside. It's like, we're not going to make anything for Lilac Wars. And that sucks, because it's a very, very, very solid game. It's such a bloody good game. It just is. It's fun. Final game of the night for everybody involved. It's one that I'd imagine most people either don't know about, don't want, or think is merely okay, and that's Turok 3. Shadow of Oblivion. Shadow of Oblivion. I really like Turok 3. I do. It's my favourite Turok game by a good margin. I bought the remake. And then I bought the remake again. So I bought 3's remake. I am gutted that Night Dive didn't put the fucking time in to adding its multiplayer. I think that sucks. I think that sucks. So much dirty man showed, and it's not really worth the money I spent on it. This is the best way to play Turok 3 unless you've got unless you have an emulator. This is the best way to play it. It's just as simple as that. It's a very, very, very good game. It's a very good game. It's an extremely robust multiplayer. Has an extremely robust multiplayer mode. Multiple playable, like 2 playable characters in the main campaign, both of which affect the story itself, which is cool. You could play as wimpy little shitbag Joseph, or you could play as Daniela, who is amazing and a perfect example of Native American awesomeness. She is the only female Native American I can think of who actually play in a first-person shooter. There are no others. At all. It's very strange. Even Prey exists, and Prey has is a Native American character in the form of Domasi. And if I've butchered that, I am sorry. But yeah, Turok 3. Yeah, I love Turok 3. I just really, really love Turok 3. It's my favourite multiplayer on the system. I don't get to play it that often with other people. I tend to just play bots, which is fine. We're allowed to do that. Even Rage Wars. I think Rage Wars is also a very robust multiplayer game, but I think 3 kind of came along and went, hey, you know that stuff Iguana have been perfecting over the course of 4 games? Yeah. Here's it personified. And then we're going to make Turok Evolution. It's going to be hot garbage. Yay! Great. Fantastic. Turok Evolution. Wonderful. And then we got Turok 2008, which... that game was garbage, and I think it's a shame that we lost something quite as exciting as the Turok series. I'm still waiting for a Turok 4. We're not going to get it. But if they came along and went, oh yeah, you know, we're going to make a Turok 4, it's not the end of the Turok trilogy, I'm on board. Hell, I will make it. It won't be very long. It'll probably be like 15 levels max. And it'll have a multiplayer mode that's borderline identical to 3. And I'd throw it out the door and it would look basically the same. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm surprised by how good the facial rigging on this. So facial rigging, if you don't know what that is, that's basically where they animate a skeleton and then they put the kind of CGI skin over it. It's astounding in this. It's so fucking good. It's really weird. It's really weird. I was watching a review before I bought the game and I was like, why is its facial animation so good? It's crazy. But yeah, that's not the only reason I like Turok 3. But, you know, I've blathered about that more than enough for today. Okay, that's me for another week. Hopefully, following week, I'm going to be talking a little bit about all of the physical Xbox 360 arcade games that I have, or the Xbox Live Arcade. Shut down recently, very sad, very quiet on that front. But I have been picking up a few. You can probably see that pile there. They're prepared for that video. There will obviously be stuff like, you know, Perfect Dark. And I'll be talking about things like Clash of Heroes as well, largely because my complete edition of that from Limited Run arrived in the post. Haha! Wonderful. Anyways, guys, that is me signing off for another week, and look forward to seeing you next time.